Day 71, Lockdown Golf Podcast. Tonight I'm Bill Bush. A lot of good feedback today from Bill Mush's appearance last night. Heard from more than one person, and just as expected, the poop story went over great. And
oh my god,
other bit
all-timer.
Other bit of feedback I got. I forgot totally until shout out to one of my favorite name drops, John Claffey at Tour Edge. He's like, I'm loving this after the poop story going, I'm just picturing you vacuuming mosquitoes off the ceiling. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I even told that story.
That's right.
But, right. And then the amount of feedback I got too is like, yeah, I'm really not a Webb Simpson guy either. And I knew I wasn't alone on this one. Still in Wisconsin. I am trying a different room for our video recording and just see if it sounds better. I like the acoustics better in the other room, but I also take.
Sounds pretty good though.
Hey, thanks. I do what I can in my remote stew.
On location, you never know. I mean,
right on location. Make do. Got out there today, did a little fishing, caught myself a couple bluegill and a perch.
What were you using? Worms or
just worms? Yeah. I was fishing my daughter, and really in this lake, it's pretty lame, and so it's about you're not going to have much right off the beach, much lure success. But I have these visions of grandeur going into the big feeder lake and really bringing in some good bass, pulling in the lunkers.
It's tough though. It's tough though too when you get a bunch of rain, because the fish tend not to be very hungry when it rains like that.
Yeah,
at least that's what I've been told.
It's been pouring here. Well,
yeah,
it just was pouring today, but it was steady and it poured overnight.
If it makes you feel any better, we got quite a bit of rain here.
I hope the Willis Tower didn't flood.
No, not that much rain.
Who am I kidding? I hope my basement didn't flood. I should
probably. That's more like it.
Hey, tomorrow, if you feel like checking my basement for water, knock yourself out. Should I say love Bill? No. Knock yourself out.
Who are you texting? Is it John Claffey?
My dad.
Oh, okay.
Hey, John Claffey. Do me a solid, bro. Can you just head over to Drive Range Heroes West Suburban headquarters and check it out? Thanks. It'd be great. I'm going hatless too. For those who aren't watching, you're just listening. It's a big deal when we go hatless on this show. But if you have a lighting issue, but get the mohawk in full force, it's all right. All right. Well, now we're really starting this show off with a heater. I don't really have much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. Of course, our buddy Jay was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine," but they are not worried about coronavirus up here in Mauston, Wisconsin. I'll tell you that much. Not a mask to be seen, and right up in each other's grills.
Is it like no masks at all anywhere?
Right. Haven't seen one.
Really? Wow.
Not a one.
I mean, they're in pretty good shape. But that's interesting to hear. I wonder if we'll see them have a bit of a swell in cases. Although, I mean, they're down at like 2% or something.
Okay.
As far as positivity rate, their cases are flat. So it seems like they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, but
it could be worse.
I guess it is of those they test. It's like maybe they're not really testing that much, because as I saw today, there was $14 billion funded for testing and whatnot last month. Yeah. And the Senate's like, we haven't spent this yet, but coronavirus is fine. And then I saw, maybe because you're home, but apparently we're entering phase 4 in Illinois on Friday.
It's true.
We
are doing that. That is something that is happening.
And you're going to be like, what's your data? Like, I don't have data, but my gut feeling on that is like, it doesn't add up, because it just feels like a switch flip. Do you know what I mean? Not the skateboarding trick.
They're all kind of switch flips. I mean, they have throughout this entire thing, they've had their plan. And if the numbers support the next phase, that's when they go to the next phase. But they've had thresholds throughout this entire thing since we entered phase 2. But I mean, I get it. We're still living. We've just entered probably phase 3. We are probably a full phase behind what the state is doing. Not we Chicago, but like my house,
Right.
like my wife and I.
Well, and I'm not asking you this in any sort of like putting you on the spot way. I'm asking you this because like I know how you tend to think of these things. How do you feel about things going to phase 4?
Well, a little apprehensive, I would say. But that's because we were talking about it today. So I would go and sit at a restaurant outdoors and have food now. But when that became available at the beginning of phase 3, I was like, no way.
And now,
right?
so
it took me like a month.
So now you're not like, okay, phase 4, you can go in the restaurant now with less than 50 people. You're like, I'm not quite there. I'm still comfortable with the patio. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
But I told my wife, like, if tomorrow if she said, you know what, let's go and sit outside at our favorite restaurant on our street and have a meal, I say, that's fine. Let's do that. And I wouldn't really be that concerned about it, because at the end of the day, so at this point now, I mean, we have just stopped. People are going to think I'm crazy, which is really funny, but we've just stopped. We had our first meal last week to go that we didn't reheat when we got home. Like that we didn't reheat when it arrived. Like we were still like sort of whatever it is in our heads or whatever, like killing the virus. When the food got here, so we were throwing it in like a 300-degree oven. I have no science backing if that helps or not, but it gives us, peace of mind. So that's the first time that we took food, didn't wipe it down, and just ate it like normal human beings since this whole thing went down. So that should give you an idea.
I don't know if I'd say
where we are mentally.
Knowing you guys, I wouldn't say you ate it like normal human beings. I don't know if you're capable of eating something like a normal human being, but I get the sentiment. It's like I could just picture the two of you, and you're like dining setup for this takeout meal. I'd be like, you guys are so abnormal, and incel would be like, what? And you'd go, yeah, I know. All right.
As I cut my Snickers with my fork and knife.
Exactly. Oh, God. So I've been sold.
But yeah, so I'll say this. So far, the government entities of this state have done things correctly. So when we went to phase 3, our numbers continue to go down. Phase 4 now, I think, again, Cook County is probably the highest from a case and a positivity rate and all those kinds of metrics. Still, I think at 4% or lower. So I'm going to put my trust in their hands, in their judgment, and say that if phase 4 turns out to be premature, I have no doubt that they will say we're going to roll things back.
Have we seen that?
I don't think we're not going to have these Arizona, Florida, South Carolina, Texas situations. Although now they're like, hey, everybody wear masks.
Don't jinx that. All right. Don't say that.
I don't think our government is like that. Those places, I think they'll say, nope, we got to go, because they already did it once.
Mm-hmm.
They did essentially when this whole thing began. They're like, look, everybody be cool, do what's right. And nobody did. And they're like, okay, well, now you're done. And they shut everything down. So I have a feeling that they wouldn't hesitate to do that again.
Oh, that's when Lori.
We'll see.
That's when Lori Lightfoot was the best for a little bit, with the best memes the internet has ever seen.
Yeah. Yes. That's when she was all angry, and she became everybody's mom. And she's like, well, now I'm going to take that away from you, and that away from you, and that away from you.
And then trapped everybody in the city. This isn't a political show. Sorry. But
yeah, and not only that, but let's be totally honest. There have been groups bigger than 10 without masks inside of 6 feet of one another for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, especially our little.
Granted, it's been outdoors, but it's still been happening, and we've seen it. And at this point,
all of our cult following get-togethers that you and I lead, our shepherded people. The people we shepherd through our cult. God, that'd be something. That's maybe a bit we should try and in the final phase of our show is kick off a fake cult. See how that goes for us. I think we could get support from a few people that could make that thing really turn into a bit, and see how many people take it serious. I've been sold a bill of goods up here. There's this like by this campground. It's a privately owned gas station, general store, and they're like, you have to
Okay.
have their frozen pizzas, and I'm like,
What?
no.
Oh man, who told you that?
Like this whole side of this family.
Oh,
That's
my
not true.
God.
That's not true. Not the whole side, but enough of them. And I'm like, ugh. So my wife's like, all right, you're gonna go get some of those pizzas. She's like, we got to at least. She's like, I've had them before. They're good. So we got them, and they were cooked enough in terms of being cooked. But like, you get that. You want that like golden frozen pizza, crisp. They didn't get cooked enough for that, but they were actually pretty good. But man, as I'm sitting here talking to you, paying for it. Just feels like maybe I have the COVID from Wisconsin not caring, but just on fire, like from here straight down to my lungs. Heartburn City.
Oh, really? I've never had heartburn, so I don't know.
How have you never had heartburn?
I don't believe I've ever experienced it. Honest to goodness, I don't know.
Even on accident.
Yeah, I don't know. And I've never had what you just described. I've never felt in my life.
Oh God, don't eat gas station pizza. It's
well, I don't need that warning.
But it's not like the one thing I'll say is like,
and think about who I work for, and I still know.
It's not like if you went into here just to help you. It's not like you went into a marathon or even like a 7-Eleven and got a pizza. Like this place is a little more like store.
Right. I get it.
And Wisconsin has tons of these things, but like,
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, never again.
What was on it?
One was pepperoni and one was sausage. Like nothing crazy.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I ate too much of it because why wouldn't I? I'm on vacation.
Well, yeah. You're a grill guy, right? Have you ever thrown a frozen pizza on a grill?
No, because I'm big and like you need to have one of those stones for like the pizza
you don't
stones.
need to.
And I'm like, I'm not just, especially like with a gas grill. I'm like, I'm not just throwing that right on the grates and getting that gas grossness. And then on my Traeger,
it's delicious, man.
My Traeger could be a nice wood fired pizza, but I'm like, I'm not messing up my grates and my drip pans with gross pizza. So yeah, I've never done it.
My children have requested when I said you can have anything for dinner. What do you want? Like that's order in, go out, whatever. And they're like, can you just grill up one of your pizzas? And I'm like, yeah. So we take like a frozen pizza,
and you're like,
and we throw more pepperoni and cheese on it, but then I put garlic on it too, and then throw that thing on the grill for like whatever 10, 12 minutes, and it's delicious, man. So
yeah,
good.
one of my Papa Kris specialties. Yeah. I'm trying a new recipe lately. Quick, get a DiGiorno instead of a Tombstone. Yeah,
it's usually it's not even one of those. It's even cheaper than those. DiGiorno doesn't work. You have to get a thin crust.
DiGiorno.
You want to get a thin crust for the grill.
DiGiorno's gross, man. I didn't learn the trick of putting additional toppings on your frozen pizza. Like, cause right, they skimp on so much of it.
Sure.
I didn't learn that trick until college, and I had a roommate. And he's like, man. I'm like, I see him take his pizza out, that's on the counter in our apartment, and then like a bag of shredded cheese. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like
100%.
So you don't always do this. I'm like, no, changed my life. All right, I gotta stop talking about it because I'm feeling gross now. So this is what, Tuesday show we're recording right now? Yeah, Tuesday.
It is. It's true.
So recording Monday night.
Guy's on vacation one day, forgets what days he's on.
I was on vacation for an hour and forgot my name. So I don't feel like that should surprise anybody. And like, don't worry, I got plenty of work text messages today. I'm literally like going to be like, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You have to figure it out. So then we'll say Monday review went up on our site. I've been talking about the shaft for a little bit. And I feel let's get some golf.
You didn't even transition. You didn't transition me into golf talk.
Yeah. So we're going to transition
some golf talk.
Transition to some actually like real golf talk and go to my wheelhouse of equipment. I feel like this desk I'm sitting at, I got like put my arms on it and talk power moves here. It's been a long 2 days. So, new shaft, VA shafts. If you are a viewer of our YouTube show, That Range Life, a show sometimes about golf, you'll remember around episode 3, we had Victor Afable, founder, president, CEO of VA Shafts. We had him on the show. He makes really good golf shafts. And I feel like people are just going to be like, oh, you're just saying that for whatever reason. Like, no, man, they're I can play this card, right? When you can too, we can play this card. Like, we can one way or another pretty much play whatever we want to play in our clubs in the shaft world.
Sure.
Because of whether it's knowing someone or being able, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I have had a VA shaft in my all my woods, minus this little anomaly I'm in three wood world right now, in my woods for like the last 3 years. And this new shaft he came out with is supposed to be like low spin. They say mid-high launch. I think mid-launch is a fair branding for it. I mean, you can get it up in the air, but you're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm launching this thing 19 degrees off the tee. Low spin for sure. But the kick in the shaft is it's super counterbalance, meaning they have more weight toward the butt end of the club. And the theory in that is, right, nowadays.
So like grip end?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by butt end? Okay.
Yeah. And the tip is lighter, but in order to, you need it, like, frankly, you need the club to hold up at the tip, right? Because that's where your weight and your club head is and taking most of the impact. So he uses, trying to think of the term he used, but anyway, a super premium composite called T1100. You've seen it in other shafts before because they brand it, but it's expensive and it's super strong, super lightweight. Well, what this allows people to do in this day and age of fitting, right? You go and get a 44-inch shaft in your driver now. Well, these new heavy driver heads, your swing weight is going to be all screwed up, meaning, let's put that into layman's terms because not everybody knows what swing weight means. It's consider it like the balance point of your club. And if you cut it short, you have this new heavy weight, all of a sudden it's going to be like, it's going to feel like too light, unbalanced. So that means the club builder has to do a bunch of tricks to build that weight up in the head, whether it's lead tape, hot melt, tungsten, you name it. So he makes this high balance point shaft. So now they can cut it basically to any length they want and control that swing weight and not lose all that weight on the butt end you'd get by cutting a big chunk of it off to shorten a driver.
Really?
Or if you make it like, if you make it too long, you can run into some issues there too. Well, the other thing this does for you, the way he explains it is like, think of it by putting more weight at the end, it feels lighter at the head side of it. So you theoretically have the same amount of weight down there, but that higher balance point can swing it through a little faster. In theory, it's, people are...
Right, because it's basically like a pendulum.
Correct. And the
right?
whole, like...
It's centrifugal force will
what is
pull
it, like,
that head through.
Mass times acceleration equals force, right? Something like that.
Correct.
So theoretically, you're coming in with the same swing speed with more weight. You're going to get, at that point in the club, you're going to get faster speeds, more distance, right? Well, that depends on how you respond to equipment. That's what kills me. Everyone's like, I swing the club this fast. Am I right fit for this shaft? You're like, dude, I don't know, because you could pick it up and just all of a sudden start taking like slap shots with it just because of something in your hands in that shaft. So what I found, I'm going, you know what? I'm not swinging this thing really that fast. I'm just trying to take nice, easy, smooth tempos to hit the ball square and get a good feel for the shaft. My driver numbers were absurd. We're talking like averaging something like 117 miles an hour club speed. You play with me, and like, I'm not saying I can't get up to that if I step on one, but just to like effortlessly do it. So I go, I don't know if this is some sort of like placebo effect or witchcraft, but and like I am just ripping this thing through the ball, and I don't even feel like I am. As far as I'm concerned, that's a win. And I don't know if this is something to do with a higher balance point, but I'm not losing that tempo because a lot of times we start doing that, you tend to get quick and get the duck hooks, whatever. Well,
Yeah.
I'll just say you saw me hitting that driver shaft at Ravislow, and it went fine. But
Yes, it did. It went very well.
premium driver shaft, that is amazing. I implore people to go check out the review on driverrangeheroes.com and look at it. I'm pretty sure I'm in love with this shaft. It is in my bag for my trip up here to Wisconsin and will get played. All right, that's enough gear talk. I can see all the people's eyes roll, including your own, rolling in the back of their head.
No, I have a bunch of, you know how I am with golf shafts because I'm such a novice and kind of, I don't know much about it. So I always have a ton of questions whenever you talk, especially driver shafts and stuff.
Fire
but
away.
we don't need to get into it now.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. So we talk about high, low spin, swing speed, low flight, mid flight, high flight, whatever it is, right?
Right.
So do you think, I'll just ask you from a personal perspective, do you think I'm playing the right shaft in my driver right now? You've seen ball flight. You've seen distance and swing speed just by looking at it.
I think you're close. It's one of those things like you can see people hit stuff and you're like, you tend to hit that thing super high and you're hitting it hard. So it's not adding up, right? Like, I don't think you seem,
okay.
If you're swinging the club well, you don't seem to have that issue. I think where the only way to really tell would start being like, well, let's see what spin numbers look like.
Right.
Even that, right. Spin's always sort of a sweet spot with your trajectory and whatnot, because you start like, oh, I got down to like 1800 RPMs. Like, yeah, but if you're launching it at 9.7 degrees at 1800 RPMs, your carry is going to be, even if you're swinging it, swinging the driver 118 miles an hour, it's like you're only going to carry at 260 yards when you should be carrying it like 290, 300.
Right. If you get a little more air into the ball, basically.
Right. But you're hitting it low with a super low spin. You're basically just hitting these dive bombs into the ground. They might hit and run, but all of a sudden now you have to carry a 270 yard water hazard or lay up, or a bunker, whatever. You don't have that option.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's like you see this a lot in fitting where people are like, oh, that spin's too high. And they're like, no, with what you're doing, you need enough spin that's going to hold, like, right? The ball is going like this. I don't know how well that translates. It's back spinning.
Right.
You need that to create the lift to hold
carry.
it in the air for more carry. And yeah, you might not get 35 yards of roll out of it, but
you don't want to hit knuckleballs out there. It's not going to help you. Right.
But everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get down to 1100 RPMs. Like, okay, go for it.
But
so I think you're probably
I'm always curious
tuning.
because I did get fit. Right. And so the head that I have matches the shaft that I have, but the catch is I was doing a review for a shaft company. So I didn't have the full kind of catalog of shafts. We were only fitting me to that certain company's shaft. So I don't know if there's something else out there that might.
There might be, but I'm sort of a big, this goes against the fitting stuff, but I feel like it comes down to oftentimes like weight and flex. And then, like, yeah, there's characteristics that are going to mix well or not with you, but it's been pointed out to me, it's like, if you have the weight and the flex right, you can if you're a decent player, will usually adjust to it. And so there's probably something in any decent brand's lineup that's fine for you. But
are the other brands as noisy as my shaft? No. You've heard mine. You've heard mine.
That's the weirdest.
It sound like popping knuckles when I take a practice swing.
So weird. I've never heard anything like that. And you said like you were told, that's a thing with this company, right? Like,
yeah. And I had a very early edition of the shaft from that company. I think it was probably for like first, like when they're brand new.
Mm-hmm.
At first I took it back after I got the club built. I took it back and I'm like, dude, this thing's gonna snap. Like, you got to hear this thing. And so the guy, rebuilt it and re-epoxied and all that kind of stuff. And it still makes this noise, but it's, whatever. It's 3 years old at this point. It hasn't.
Well, that's the other thing too.
Exploded on me yet, so whatever.
I can't tell you how many rounds I played with somebody who's like, "Oh, you go to Club Champ, man? Yeah, I went there 3 years ago and I got fit for this driver." And they're really proud of this expensive tour they have, and hey, rightfully so. But they're hitting a lot of bad tee shots, and they're like, I don't understand. I mean, I'll be like, well, sure, that's it'll be like an 8.5 degree small profile head with some stout shaft. I'm like, you're not sweet. Like, you don't have the game for this.
Right.
And while I'm sort of like, hey, everybody swings unique. God knows what the combo was. They go, well, when did you get fit for that? Oh, 3 years ago. Like, you could have changed in 3 years.
For
all of a
sure.
sudden now you're swinging,
sure.
you used to swing really up on the ball. Now you have like a negative angle of attack, or your path has changed, something, a million, or you're getting older and weaker, older and stronger. You're getting younger and stronger somehow, defying time. But
that's what I'm doing.
There is
mentally
an element of that. Like, yeah, people are like, how much are drivers changing these days? So do you really need to keep buying the new ones? Well, that's up for debate. But like, there is a certain degree of, you aren't the same. There's a great chance you're not the same golfer you were 3 years ago. So from that perspective, maybe it's worth. And if you have the means to get checked out, right, it's always worth to me. Like, okay, is this still performing the way it should? Like, you could go hit that on a launch mount and be like, yep, 13.1 degrees, 2,200 RPMs, and 170 miles an hour ball speed. I'm fine.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Right.
So
the only thing I think I've really changed, I know I used to be I'm still pretty steep into the ball off a tee, but I've flattened out a little bit, but it hasn't had a huge impact.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest change. But yeah, that's always, I'm always curious about that stuff, because it's like a total blind spot for me, like shaft technology and how that stuff works. And I have no clue.
God, if only we knew some people that could help us with this. Maybe it's time for a video for you. Well, phase 4, maybe we can do a video with it.
Yeah. Well, you still have to wear a mask in phase 4. Don't forget.
Do you have to?
Masks? Yes.
I'm not saying that like I wouldn't. I just didn't know.
It's the way that the easiest way to explain what the phases have been is that the previous guidelines remain intact. It's just the additional add-on stuff. So we still should social distance. We still should wear masks, but now we can go inside a place.
Well, and
that's
more
really the biggest difference.
And more people and whatnot.
And
right?
more people. Correct.
Okay.
But masks and social distancing are still recommended.
Those following along at home, my dad texted me back. He said, "Will do." So he is going to check out the water for me.
So you called John Claffey your dad. It's very cute.
Like, hey, John, you got to listen to this podcast again. Dad, can you drive from your place like close to? Oh no, never mind. He said, I think John said where he lived on our show, so I can't say what I was going to say about golf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we should get Victor. We talked about this early on. He said he'd do it. We should get Victor on the show to just talk about golf shaft education, 101 sort of stuff. And we'll warn people again, like, this is gonna be a huge golf nerd episode, so don't listen to it. I think that's fine.
Right. But we can, like, I want to know, like, from a technology perspective and weighting perspective and flex perspective, like, what makes a low spin, or what makes, besides your own kind of swing style or whatever, but like, what in a shaft creates that sort of launch profile? Like, how do you control that from a manufacturing perspective?
Especially not knowing how people play. Like, I talk to people all the time where everyone's like, oh, the hazardous smoke green, the Hulk shaft, like, it's low launch, low spin, and the black is but not as much as the green. I'm like, dude, that black is so launch and low spin for me, and that green, not for me. It's not low. It's not low. It's just not. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's lower than a lot of other shafts per se, but like, it's not the super stout, boardy dive bomber that everyone says it is. But that's for me. Other people, it's totally different. So my question is, like, you put on the product page, this is a low launch, low spin shaft. Well, is that really supposed to be for everyone who swings that club? And if so, why, what, how.
Right. And how? Right. That's
Yeah.
what I want. Like all of the swing profiles that exist in this world, you know, we're all a bunch of golf swing snowflakes. We all are unique.
It's sad, but it's 100% true. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
So
to be
like
like
when you,
we're super like avant-garde and, you know,
no. But imagine creating something. Imagine manufacturing, designing things. Like even if you could design, let's say you design 5 shafts and you're like, okay, these 5 have to cover basically, or I want them to cover as many swing profiles and swing speeds and styles as possible.
I should,
like that's, man.
Hey, text me tomorrow. Remind me. I'll shoot him a text and be like, hey, we talked about this a while ago, I know, but I'm on vacation this week and my schedule's weird, as you well know. Let's do that. Let's do that maybe next week when I'm back. See if we can't get that done soon. Give people a real golf nerd episode and watch our ratings plummet. Let's stay into golf topics. You know, I don't really want to go into this because I think it's already been talked about a lot, but Nick Watney testing positive for coronavirus.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that, huh?
And he obviously picked it up on the island, and then Justin Thomas being like,
yeah,
it's a circus here, so
it's a zoo. Yeah, he called it a zoo. He's like, I don't think people are taking it very seriously. It's a zoo out there.
And then I love
and then someone like tried to light him up for it, and that was nice. You know, we're recording.
I couldn't help it, dude. Couldn't help it.
But someone tried to like call him out, like, oh, so you can come in on your $1 million yacht and stay at the Hilton, and
he's like,
and
yeah, yes,
judge
I
us.
can.
He was like, I didn't really say anything like that. I'm just telling you guys are being very careful. Like he was really kind of diplomatic about it.
I want to know how many of those people taking it personal are really. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't middle class people on the Hilton Head Island, but let's be honest here. You know,
yeah, Mary from Sea Pines isn't struggling for a buck. Okay,
well said. I like how you put that. But yeah, and then Sergio, like the whole Sergio quote thing, and I'm like, man, the amount of people that I saw it on our favorite place, golf Twitter, people getting so worked up about the dumb thing Sergio says. I'm like, if you are clearly, and I like Sergio, but I'm not a Sergio apologist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but like. You clearly didn't get, like, he clearly meant that in a different context than every single one of you are spinning.
This was an opportunity that the Sergio haters, I hate to say that, I don't like that saying or that phrase or whatever, but the people that do not like Sergio Garcia jumped on as in like, oh, now he wants everybody to go. Like, no, you knew exactly, like, if the people want to go out and take the risk and because it's out there and they get it, guess what?
Right.
That's on you. That's the whole freedom of choice thing that everybody talks about. Not everybody, it's a small population, but that's the freedom of choice. You want to go and put yourself at risk because you want a sandwich at Subway, go, fine. But then if you get it, don't come bitching at me, man. And that's basically what Sergio was saying. Like, but yeah, that was those are people that were.
Some people who deserve to get it more than others. It's like, so people deserve to get it. It's like, yep, that's what he meant.
Right. That's exactly what he was saying.
And by the way, the guy who speaks English as a second language, clearly that's what he meant. And I can hear someone like, he's been speaking English for a long time. He clearly can communicate just fine. It's like, yeah, so can I. And I can still say things out of context or just say it weird. I called myself Bill Mush yesterday. You slip and say things a certain way. All right, anyway. Hey, I think we have some different opinions. Big news that came out today is
official news. Official news that you were already deemed a fact.
Assumed. I can't say deemed a fact, but like I came to terms with this. But it's not technically.
That's a good way to put that.
It's technically not official. Remember, the official reports were that it would be official tomorrow or today as you're listening to this, which that's my favorite part. Officials say it will be official tomorrow that the Ryder Cup is going to get kicked to 2021. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah. To me, I heard them like, yeah, no kidding. Which with that, there's two bits of news that came out today that I had the same reaction to. I'm like, who didn't see this coming? And I guess as I thought was like, I thought it would be quite the stretch. And especially as we were seeing all these golf tournaments that were going to be allowed to have fans that going, nope, sorry, you can't have fans at them. Like the PGA Championship, whatever. To me,
right.
And especially with enough of the players who've been like, we can't have fans, we're not going to do this. To me, I'm like, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. The Ryder Cup is not going to happen in 2021. I guess
2020.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's going to happen in 2021. Apparently, I was in. I don't know if I'm in the minority, but a lot of people were just like, "Oh my god!" over it today.
No, I think it was. I think I retweeted the scoop.
Actually, I didn't even.
Was it?
When we were talking, I didn't even
Williams,
remember that.
or,
yeah, you said like you took a pretty big golf journal statement. What?
It was. I wanted to. It was a scoop. But it was the only one that had tweeted. He was the first one out with the news, so I gave him his due. But yeah, he
big time. Okay, yeah, it's never mind that. I was giving you a hard time. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
But I mean, he was the first one to say, you know, it's going to be announced, and so that's a big deal. And so yeah, I think I'm not that far away from where you were. I was pretty much. I would have been much more surprised if they're like, we're going to do this in 2020 than moving it.
Right. Okay.
So that means President's Cup moves back to 2022.
Well, did you see the amount of people who are like,
and then we're back on the schedule that we were 20 years ago.
What does this mean for the President's Cup? And I'm like yeah. Let me tell you who really cares. Well, it's definitely picked up in steam. Like, if you think Ryder Cup isn't going to get precedence over President's Cup for these guys any day of the week.
Oh my God.
And then my favorite is like, well, what are you going to do best? Like, no shit. Welcome to golf in 2020.
Right.
All of it is rolling downhill and impacting stuff, or going downstream and impacting stuff down the stream, you know, like, so many things are getting pushed. And think about all the like rotating events. We're like, well, this is supposed to be our year. We got the PGA Championship. Well, we're not going to get, they are getting it, but say they weren't. We're not going to get it now, and they can't reschedule it. Well, they've already committed it to the next 7 years or whatever. Jeez, I want to say they were over 10 years scheduled on some of these, right? The U.S. Open, I think, scheduled through 2030. For
sure. Yep.
So I don't know that.
Yeah. In fact, in the story, they had even mentioned that they didn't even really start building the infrastructure. So that should tell you enough, like right there, like they were never going to have this thing.
Right.
So
I love that course, by the way. It's such a good course. It's wild. And I get where there's a lot of people who are like have big dumps in their pants that are like, oh, Whistling Straits is too artificial. And you're like, just shut up.
Man, I would.
It was
ask him like, yeah, but would you play it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'd play it. Like,
no, okay, no, enough. Golf guys like this love to be like, no, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I'd rather go play.
Then you're still done with the conversation.
What's the one? Bull Valley, is that the one that everyone goes to? Bull something up there. It's right. It's like I'm gonna go play Whistling. No, I'm gonna go play the Straits. Like where else should I play?
Bull Run or something? Bull Valley is in like Elgin, right?
No idea.
Oh yeah, that's a private course, right? You don't know Bull Valley?
I know the name. Well, clearly I know the name. It's coming out of my mouth. I just don't know if it's in Elgin. You could tell me it's Elgin. You could tell me it's near Kohler, Wisconsin, and apparently it's either
maybe there's another one. I don't know.
There's Bull something up there, but everyone's like, yeah, you go play the Straits and you don't play the other courses. It's way better value when you go play that. It's like, okay, you know, that's the same guys like, I'd rather play that 10 out of 10 times than Whistling Straits. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but see, that's kind of that's a different argument. If you're going to talk about value, that's different than just straight up, you know, like quality, heritage, you know, history, Kris, style, all those kinds of things. That's a totally different discussion.
You're kind of sounding like me right now. Wiping tears from my eyes finally. I'm proud of you. I feel like this is a moment.
I just feel like everyone wants to do that. Like you pose a question and then they answer it with a different hypothetical. You're like, that's not the question.
Right.
Like, no, all these courses are free. money is no object. Nothing costs anything. Nothing matters. Which one you want? You're going to play Whistling Straits? Yes, of course. Now, if you got $50 in your pocket, are you going to play Whistling Straits? No.
And not because
I get it.
You're choosing not to. It's because they're not going to let you for $50, bro.
Right.
Can't even
well, if you have so if you have $300 in your pocket,
they won't even give you. Can't even play Whistling Straits for that. You get it.
Okay, well, I'm never playing Whistling Straits then.
It is one of those things where I'm like, I actually really do like it. I'm not saying they don't have a couple of holes that are kind of like, but I say like, yeah, guys, I live in Chicago, Illinois. I don't have the Pacific Ocean. I don't have Torrey Pines and Pebble Beach. So what I do have is the great sea of the Midwest, Lake Michigan. And this is like the closest thing we have to a Pebble Beach. And you get the seagulls, you get the big boats, you get the waves crashing. It's cool. So
Whistling Straits is the course. I think I asked you about this, where you hit at a rock out in Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And now you're
just for fun.
And you're not supposed to, and caddies aren't allowed to give you yardages to it anymore.
Right.
And because it's like it shoots something like, I'm going to get these numbers totally wrong, but it's one of those things where it's like your gun will shoot like 185, but it only plays like 145 or something. And the whole big thing now, how they're like, turns out golf balls are really bad for the ecosystem. And we can't do that. So I think that's what the big reason is. But I really enjoyed playing there.
Fair enough.
I can't tell you I'd be like, yes, every year I'm going to go spend that money. But like next year, my wife's like, it's been a long bunch of years with these kids. I want to get away. I just want to go to Kohler. She's like, I've been to Kohler twice, and both times I was pregnant, so I couldn't like do the full spa thing. She's like, I just want to go. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm going. Let's play some of that straight.
Well, it's funny because Kohler has come up in vacation talk. So we may end up there at some point.
Maybe we can do it together. I will tell you.
We could also go to Kohler together too.
Awesome. I mean, I don't like what you did there. But it's, I will tell you, yes, it is expensive, but everything I did there was awesome. Everything was
well, if that's the case, again, you're talking about value, right? If that's the return in investment, then I have no problem.
Well, it's like, as long as you're, honest with yourself about it and like admit you're admitting to yourself, you're giving yourself a treat. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like any other, when we take vacations, we're like, especially if I'm going to drop how often I go overseas for vacation, but when we go to Europe, like we don't know, it's kind of funny. We can't do the math obviously in our heads of what a euro and a dollar mean. So it's like, it's just pretend money. And so it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then you just find out when you get home, like, oh yeah, we spent X amount. So it'll be the same thing.
I've been down that road before. You're like, man, that British pound got really expensive this week.
Like when you have a coin in your hand and it's like, that's, $6.37. That's one coin. You're like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then you give like 20 of those and you're like, I don't know what I just spent on this hat.
This should be just as good as garbage. And you're telling me it's like a down payment.
Right.
All right. So speaking of golf news, that I don't want to make light of this, but like, I'm shocked came as such a surprise to people. A big thing today was the announcement that Golf Channel is laying off a bunch of their staff in Orlando. Now,
talk about something that we knew was going to happen.
Let me be clear, as we're probably going to take some shitty tones related to people like, how did you not see this coming? I feel terrible for people losing their jobs who have been invested in them and are good at them. And,
of course.
Like your point, I feel the same way about them losing their jobs as they do the other 40 million people who don't have jobs in America right now, right? It's like,
right,
you're part of it. Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's interesting to me is that this is the kind of outcome when you have major conglomerates buy other companies.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens. That's all. This is what happens.
We don't know anything about that.
Right.
Hey, you punched your mic. Look at you. Made me feel better for once. But for those who don't know, Golf Channel said back in February they were moving their headquarters from Orlando to Stamford, Connecticut. If I'm not mistaken, that's NBC's headquarters, right? And
Correct.
they
Right.
can do. It's more efficient. To do all their production out of there. They weren't sure what they were going to do with personalities and whatnot. Well, fast forward, and they said yes, people will be losing jobs. We don't know who, when, what, and we don't know how this is all going to shake out. If people are going to be allowed to move. Well, today they said it's going to be this first phase, and I don't even remember the timelines. This first phase, and I think in end of August, and then the next phase would be end of October. So,
Right.
And we're talking internet writers, we're talking on-screen people, and actually I don't think they said any on-screen people. I think it was just production.
It'll be
people.
production team.
Yeah, but a lot of people, and they're some of these people will be able to apply for smaller roles, and you're like, oh wow, that sucks. But yeah, given they got bought and they already said they're going to move everybody, move this business from Orlando to Connecticut. I'm like, God, that writing was on the wall. Obviously this was going to happen. And so
it was.
I have no qualms with the reactions of God, that's really sad. That sucks 100%. But the amount of people who were just bewildered to see this news today.
Yeah. Right. How could they do? I did what? How?
Man, our game, and I'm sure you could probably go into every sport, but it's the people into our game. Yeah, it's we don't make great names for ourselves by how taken aback we are by pretty simple and logical things. And you would think for a sport you have to use your brain so much.
That happens in every sort of business and everywhere else across the globe. Yeah. But how long, Bill, before someone tries to do another one of the was it the Back Nine Network?
Oh yeah.
So how long before someone tries to start one of those up back in Florida? Because you're going to have some talent. You're going to be able to you're going to have some production team stuff laying around. You're going to have some talent that wants to live in Florida still.
Right.
I mean, you could have some people that could draw right away if you've got the infrastructure.
Well, I'm who are you going to get to do it? The thing Golf Channel had for it back in the day was they had a guy named Arnold Palmer pushing forward and funding it. And you're like,
right.
Who's gonna ride that horse through town?
That's true.
That's true. And what happened? Back Nine?
Maybe Tiger starts up his own golf channel.
Yeah, that'd be the day. It wouldn't surprise me if that agency of his got in there and was like, TGR Network has a ring to it.
Well, there's Golf TV. Does Golf TV have any affiliation with Golf Channel? They're independent, right?
I think they're NBC.
Are they? Okay, never mind.
I think. If someone tells me I'm wrong,
I wouldn't be surprised.
What was the Back Nine Network thing? I totally forgot. I mean, I remember
they just ran the thing in the ground, right?
But didn't they get
ran out of money?
Didn't they get picked up by Dish or somebody? Because it wasn't. They did have
a channel, yeah.
But it wasn't one of the wider spread providers because it had a push, and I can't remember who was on it.
You know who we should have on to talk about it?
Adam Unfiltered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get him on this week.
Capital A, capital U, capital F. Boy.
He tries to put this GU and AU business. I'm like, how dare you leave off the F? Don't you talk to us about your established brand, you son of a bitch.
Right. You're very successful and established brand. We'll brand you the way we want to.
Yeah. All right.
Hey. Anyways, he'll come on and he'll talk about it in code a little bit and just, give us a little taste.
I don't even care if you hey, look, I'm not trying to dig into the X's and O's. I just, refresh us on the story as we're trying to figure out.
Right.
We're trying to figure out what the next coming of this is going to be. Wouldn't surprise me too. He's like, well, oh God. His network, I could see his network putting something together.
I could see that.
I don't think
it's got some potential.
I don't think maybe to the Golf Channel scale, but
No,
I mean, I
but
don't
like
know.
an independent voice. See, the challenge is because the PGA Tour is so in bed with the Golf Channel that you can't get any of that footage.
What does it say? When like it's such
That's
a
the challenge, right?
there's such a boys club, and they'll be like, that one time on your thing you said that
Yeah.
Monahan's pants were ugly. You're never again.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, I have to hit him up about that. But yeah, so sad day for sure, and we're all gonna miss it. But I mean, that writing was on the wall. It'll be interesting to see what does or does not come of it. All right, you got anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No.
I'm very much in vacation mode, so I'm like, I can talk about some of the fish I'm catching or not catching, and
I haven't felt this way in a long time, but I really want to go hit golf balls. Like I have I'm just jonesing to go hit golf balls. Not and like
So-
really, it's more jonesing to go play golf. Usually, like I play golf on the weekend, and then I live my life during the week, and then I'm like, come Friday, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to hit golf. I'm ready to play golf. But like today, all day, it's like, man, I wish I was just on a golf course right now.
So I have up here a very high ceiling garage, and then downhill driveway, there's a street in front of it, and just woods. I have a hitting mat and a giant box full of old golf balls.
Nice.
Just saying. So that urge hits, I think I got a plan. And if I get in trouble for it, I have a hitting net too. So I got plans. All right, bud. It's been a pleasure.
Cool, man.
Good talking to you. I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, man?
Yes.
It's worse on video because you make eye contact with me while you do it. That sounds weird. All right. Bye, everybody.